All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Monday, March 6th Town of Monroe Board meeting. I'm going to ask everyone after the Pledge of Allegiance just to remain standing for a moment of silence, and I'll explain after we say the pledge. Pledge allegiance. Republic for God. So this past week, 7 to 10 days, we lost two members of our community that were integral parts, not only of our community, but of our country. The first was Vinnie Marino, fondly known as Sonny. He was 100 years old. He served his country in the U.S. Army from 1942 to 1945 during World War II. He was a national and local member of the Battle of the Bulge veterans, and he was a member of St. Anastasia Church. Father Mike gave a great sermon on what Vinnie meant to not only our country but to Monroe, and he will be missed dearly. I've known Vinnie since I'm about 17 years old. So I really am going to miss him. His sons were extremely grateful for the love that he received, not only from, the town, the village, but also the county. Steve Newhouse was his guardian on the honor flight. So we will miss Vinnie. And then there's Tomm Remo. For those of you that don't know, Tomm was a deputy mayor for the village of Monroe, along with being a trustee. He had a commitment to accounting that was very rare. He actually was the accountant / treasurer for Pop Warner football. Bill Scully knew Tomm very well. He worked as the treasurer for the cadets up at West Point for the last, I want to say, 15 years of his employment before he retired. He has since moved on to West Hartford, Connecticut, and he passed away from a brief illness. He will be missed. I tell you a quick funny story about Tomm. It was like 1984. Everybody left the board of Pop Warner, and we're sitting around a table, and there was like 8 of us. And somebody said, "Tomm, you're in accounting," and the next one was, "Okay, you're the treasurer." And he stood in that position until he moved to West Hartford in the mid 2000s. So they will be missed. So just a moment of silence for both of them, Vinnie and Tomm. Thank you very much. Can I get a motion to open up this evening's meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Poole will second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
And aye.
So moved. Okay. Madam Clerk / Tax Collector?
So we are in our last month of tax collection, which means that any unpaid taxes now have a 2% penalty added to them, along with a second notice fee. Second notices have gone out in the mail. To date, we are 85% collected. We will be open Saturday, March 25th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. If anyone can't come in during the week that wish to come in to pay their taxes.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. Thank you. Councilwoman Houle, the open house scheduled for the 29th.
Yes, so on Wednesday, March 29th, the town of Monroe is going to host its second annual open house where we've invited the town and villages to come in with their police departments and the volunteer fire departments and the volunteer ambulance corps, along with the boards that we frequently ask people to serve on, like the Park Commission, the planning boards, the Conservation Commission. So it'll be a good night for residents to come out and take a look at what the town of Monroe has to offer as far as recreation and volunteerism, and get everybody involved. The clerk's office will be there, and she will provide residents with another opportunity to pay their taxes, right, that night?
Pay taxes, pretty much whatever services the town clerk's office offers, notary services, hunting license, easy pass, dog licenses, yes.
All of those things.
If anyone needed to come during the night for a marriage license, we'll be here that night as well.
Yep, so all of that stuff can be done that night. Your elected officials will be here, so you'll get a chance to meet with them, talk with them in a very relaxed setting. So it's a good night. We had a good night last year, so.
Yeah, it was a great turnout.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Dory.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Dory.
You're welcome.
Councilman Scancarello, you want to talk about the Welcome Home event?
So the Welcome Home event will be... It is on.
No.
The Welcome Home event will be April 1st from 2 to 4 p.m., and we will do the pinning ceremony. Starts at 2:15 p.m., followed by light refreshments at the Newburgh Armory. That's at 321 South William Street in Newburgh. And it is an event for the Vietnam-era veterans and the surviving family members. Please come out and attend that.
Thank you. Okay, the other event, the community training event, which will be hosted by the Monroe Police Department and the Monroe Volunteer Ambulance Corps. They're hosting a community training event on Saturday, March 18th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Space is limited. It's going to be here at Town Hall. And if you would like to sign up and get involved, you could contact Sergeant Timmy Young at t.young@monroepd.org. Gonna wait for Nadine, Heather? I mean, it's not Nadine, Randy, yeah. Yeah, okay, all right. So we're gonna move on. Public hearing. So I need a motion to open up the continuation of the public hearing regarding a proposed amendments to local law E-V1 2021, amending Chapter 57 zoning to establish a two-family dwelling overlay for the area of the town of Monroe north of Route 17.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second. To second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Full aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Good night.
So moved. No public
Public
comment?
comment.
Okay, so I actually spoke to our planner this morning on the way into work on the phone, and he assured me that he will have his comments on the response to the planning board's, their response by the next meeting. So we should have something for the next meeting so that we can forward with adopting this law.
Okay, anybody else have a comment? No? Okay, Councilman McGinn, you want to hold this off till April 3rd? The continuation of the public hearing?
I mean, we could do it for the next meeting, because he did say he would have his findings by then, so.
Yeah, okay.
I would put it on for the next, you want me to make that motion?
Yeah, please.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Nugent. I was just looking.
May 3rd.
I'll make a motion that we continue the
March
public
20th,
hearing
sorry.
to March 20th at 7 p.m. or shortly thereafter.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Full aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Good night.
So moved. Item 4.3, I'll make a motion to open up the continuation of the public hearing regarding local law H-V1 of 2022 to amend Chapter 57 concerning the regulations governing tree preservation. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Cancarello, aye.
Good night.
So moved. Madam Clerk?
Dennis Fordham, I don't know if you want to speak first, and then,
No, Dennis, come on up.
Fordham, Monroe Conservation Commission. We
Evening.
submitted, good evening. We submitted comments at the end of January, and I understand they're still being reviewed by Mr. Stack, the
Yes.
planner. So is the idea that those comments will be incorporated, or we'll have an opportunity to maybe have a discussion with regard to those comments at a later stage?
Yes.
Yeah, that I think would be appropriate. Yeah.
I have any questions? No?
I just, I noticed that the county responded and that they made a suggestion of adding dates, specific dates for removing of the trees, but other than that,
You guys comment on that? Did you see that yet? The county's response? All right, we'll forward that to you. This way you have that in your hand and you can address that as well.
Yeah, I'd like to think that maybe Max will come up with some revised revisions, or we have an opportunity to have either a conference call or a Zoom meeting to go over any concerns that he has relating to what.
As when I spoke to him this morning, he's in the middle of also doing the village's master plan, and so yeah,
Okay.
he's got a lot on his plate. But we did mention that, and he said he's on it. So
Yeah.
So we'll keep on it.
But in the end, we'll have a
Yes.
good tree code that we're all happy with. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for your help,
Thank you.
Dennis.
that's all for public comment.
Okay. I'll make a motion then to keep open the continuation of a public hearing regarding local law H-V1 of 2022 to amend the chapter 57 zoning concerning the regulations governing tree preservation until March 20th, 2023 at 7 p.m. or immediately thereafter.
Bingham to second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Cancarello, aye.
Good night.
Okay, so moved. All right, I'll make a motion to open up the continuation of the public hearing for the proposed Arrow Park Water District.
Bingham to second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Cancarello, aye.
Good night.
No
Okay,
public comment?
and no public comment?
Nope.
All right, I will say that our grant writer has reapplied, and I think it's best that with the response coming back from this grant regarding a decision from this grant application, I'm going to postpone this till June 5th. So I'm going to make a motion to keep open the continuation of the public hearing for the proposed Arrow Park Water District till Monday, June 5th at 7 p.m. or immediately thereafter.
Second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Cancarello, aye.
Good night.
So moved. Okay, item 4.7 is a motion to open up the public hearing regarding the DG Management Park District. I'll make that motion.
Bingham to
Second.
second.
You got, did you get that? Okay. Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Cancarello, aye.
Good night.
So moved.
No public comment?
No public comment? Council, would you like to just,
So I would recommend, if there's no public comment, that the board can close the public hearing. I'll start that again. I would recommend that the board, if there's no public comment, can close this hearing. But in this case, because it's a improvement district, there needs to be an order after the public hearing prepared. So you can direct our office to prepare that and put this on for March 20th, at which point we can present the order after the public hearing to establish the park district.
okay.
I'll make that motion to close the public hearing and request council to draft the
after the public hearing.
Order after the public hearing for the next meeting.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? No? Call the question?
Bingham, aye.
Full aye.
Cardone, aye.
Ankarello, aye.
Good night.
Okay. Heather, you're up. Come on up. So Heather, just make sure everybody introduces themselves, who they're working for, where they're from, where they live, et cetera.
Hi, good evening. I'm Heather Bell. I am the President and CEO of the Orange County Chamber of Commerce. I live in Fishkill, New York.
Okay?
Randy Piccarello, Village of Montgomery, Director of the Business Council of Greater Montgomery, and working with Heather on the ESP ERC program.
Everyone, Edison Guzman. Hi, Dory.
Hi, Edison.
Edison Guzman, Prosperity Marketing. I have an advertising agency right here in Central Valley, and I program facilitator or director or something. I work with the program.
So when I first came to the chamber, I came across this binder, and it's pretty old. You can see that SCORE was a part of the program many years ago, and Edison's name was on it. And then we went into a pandemic, and I started signing up people that decided that it was time to see the value of membership in a chamber membership because they weren't going to work for the man anymore. They were going to be their own boss. Only they were doing it without the business acumen of a true entrepreneur. They had the talent, but they didn't have the business plan. Those are the people that we're seeing fail now. Those are the storefronts that you're seeing closed on your main street. So I got in touch with Randy and Edison, who were running this program updated in the town of Montgomery, and I said, how can we partner and make this a county-wide program? Brian Marr, to his credit, said, I have ARPA funding, and I know the value of that program. Let me give you enough to run it. And I said, we need to make this program even better. This program is a New York State licensed program to Edison's credit. It is highly successful. If you are familiar with Pine Island Tap House, that is one of the chamber members that went through this program, and he speaks at our graduation. We needed to make the program better because we needed it to not just be a 10-week program and be done. So that's where we collaborated and we said, let's extend it to a full year program. So it is no longer the Entrepreneurial Success Program. It is the Entrepreneurial Resource Center that starts with the Entrepreneurial Success Program. And that's how the three of us came together to propel this program into success for those people that participate in it. And then there's varying parts of the components. So there's 10 people that participate in the program. They go through a 10-week program. And then if they finish that 10-week program, they get their tuition refunded. So they have skin in the game because they have to pay a tuition, right? 90% attendance, tuition is refunded. If they have that 90% attendance, they get a membership to the chamber for the rest of the year. Not only do they get the benefits of having a chamber membership, but they're going to get one-on-one direction and support from Randy. That's how the program continues for an entire year for these people. So they're not just set free after 10 weeks. And that's where a lot of the municipalities are struggling with the price tag of the program, but they don't realize that it's a full year of support. So I will let Randy and Edison add their comments and take questions.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you, Heather.
Pretty much, I've been teaching this program for about 20 years or so, and we've gotten a lot of success stories out of it. One of the problems that we have is that people go into business, they put up their shingle, and they don't know what they're doing. So they close their business 6 months later. And you see these storefronts, a year, 2 years later, they spent hundreds of thousands of dollars. The community loves it at first. We did the ribbon cuttings. We do a lot of ribbon cuttings. But then a year or two later, they're out. So what we're trying to do is just slow that whole thing down. Well, this program has been working for 2 decades now. It helps the individuals who actually go through it. And now, with the expansion of the program to go for an entire year of ERC, which is actually a resource center for anyone that has any questions anytime they want, that expansion is just going to give them more confidence, more accountability, and more resources for them to actually succeed. So before they decide, first they put a business plan so that they don't close the doors. But if something does happen that they're going to, we will do everything that we can in our power to make sure that they don't. And that'll keep our businesses open and our community happy, and everybody will be awesome for it. Back to you, Randy.
Thank you, Edison.
So my part of this amazing trio is we identify businesses in the area that may benefit from the program. We look at people even online that are maybe aspiring business owners. We go into the school. We offer it to your junior, seniors. It's not really appropriate for anybody. They're able to take.
If you could
Sorry.
go close to the mics.
So we can also offer it to your high school students that maybe are interested in working for themselves or aren't sure what they want to do. So it's a great way to give them a pathway to look at other career opportunities. And then during the process of the course, they do an entire business plan. So if they're paying attention, they're doing their homework, they're being accountable to the course load, they're going to leave with a business plan that they can take to a bank and apply for funding. The other part of what I do is identify resources in the area. I think that's the biggest issue that small businesses face as well. A lot of times when you come into a storefront on your main street or you start a new business, there's not always a camaraderie. It's not always like, oh, welcome, a new person. Sometimes it's survival of the fittest. So what I learned in my own experience in small business and I apply with the students that come through the program is identifying resources in your area and how to utilize them as a resource and be a way to cast a wider net and introduce yourselves to more clients. We teach them how to spend all of their dollars in the area so that all of their money stays here and it circles back around. And I'm an accountability coach to them, and when they're stumbling or struggling, we work with them 6 hours a week for 10 weeks, so we get to know them pretty well at night. Sometimes, somebody's kid is sick or they had a rough day, so you get to know their personal lives and their struggles a little bit. So when I see them slipping a little bit afterwards or they're struggling, I become a listening ear and try to get them through it. So anything to make sure that we are bringing in businesses that are prepared to pivot whenever they need to and have backup plans and be a little bit more solvent so that your storefronts aren't continually turning over is the goal. And I would be happy to answer.
So you're working with new businesses or existing businesses? Okay, both. Okay.
So COVID kind of brought out people that didn't know they needed to pivot. If they didn't have an online presence, if they didn't have marketing for an online platform for ordering, deliveries, they really struggled. And, things are different. They're still different now. So we order things differently. We engage differently than we used to. So if you didn't have that already ready to go, there's a struggle there. So issues scaling, issues pivoting. Maybe you started a new business and it blew up during COVID, and now you don't know what to do because you didn't have that plan in place. So we help with many different areas.
Where have you done this, and has it been successful? Like, what's your success rate here?
Over the years, this has been taught through BOCES. The Orange County Chamber many years ago had a grant that actually facilitated everything as well. I've taught this through SCORE. I'm sure you know SCORE, the not-for-profit organization nationwide. So this program has been around. I've modified it over the years. I had to get it approved by New York State because of a grant that we received in Port Jervis so that we can help the individuals there, their agencies there. Ever since then, it's been licensed by New York State. They gave us they told us that we should charge $1,500 for this as tuition for this course, but we keep it as low as possible, which is about $300. We tell them $400, and we give an early discount so people will sign up early, so we'll know that we have enough people in class. But this has been run. This program, when it's run properly, is extremely successful for individuals. On our website, we have 9 out of the 10 participants gave us a video testimonial that you can go to our website, 3villages.org, and just click on it. They are raving about it. We've been doing this for years. Again, Pine Island Tap House is just one of the people that went through. I could give you a list of other individuals that have done that over the years, and they've been very successful.
Towns recently
Town of Montgomery. So we're in our second session at Town of Montgomery. The graduates from the first session that they funded are in.
And at a time, sir.
It is 10 at a time. We can, yeah, we can do more.
30 businesses, individual businesses.
Yes.
Okay.
So we did 10 because
Hold
we
on
were.
one sec. Can I just ask everyone to be quiet? Because I know I'm hearing a little speaking over Randy here. Thank you. Go ahead, Randy.
We can do more. We were limited to 10 in the beginning because of the time frame of the launch, the classroom that we were using initially, and it was still a little COVID-y, so we didn't want to start a class and have to keep breaking out, so it worked quite well. But the graduates from the first session in the town of Montgomery are now in month 4 of the Resource Center, so we meet with them as frequently as they need to, but at least once a month. So we meet in other businesses in the area, again, to make sure that they're circulating and introducing themselves along the way. And we work on business plans and, like I said, stumbling blocks. But they're in month 4, the first graduating class from this particular course.
Montgomery is your else in
County has explored the opportunity and they're entertaining it as well.
In
What can
Montgomery,
we do as, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. No,
in
no.
Montgomery, out of those 10 students who graduated the first session, have any of them opened their business?
Have one that just upgraded her storefront that had opened during, I think, right before we started the session. She's currently opening. We had a couple that were just in the initial planning process and the aspirational process. Some of them are pivoting now based on what they learned in the class and going back to the drawing board. And we have a person that was in the hamlet of Walk Hill that is looking to rent space closer to the town of Montgomery because of everything that she learned in that program and all the people that she met there. Do we have anybody that launched a store opening yet? Yeah, we have home base. A lot of pivoting, growing, changing. So we have a couple home-based businesses. Sorry, and like I said, a lot of them are moving and shaking. So whether they're downsizing, upsizing, changing to a more virtual platform, or going forward to working towards saving enough to open a storefront, they're all kind of in flux right now, but definitely in a different spot than they were when they started.
Sounds like your
The
program
section
is
that we're
creative.
in right now, the session that we're in right now actually includes 2 Orange County Chamber member existing businesses that I knew were struggling. They were about to close. And I said, before you close, please take this course. I know that this will be beneficial to you. I even offered to subsidize their tuition because I knew that it would be beneficial to you. I think you guys are in week 3 or 4. Both of them said how much they are learning, how much they realize they have done wrong, and how excited they are to start moving forward in the right direction.
I have a question. I was intrigued when you said you were reaching students in junior and senior year could also attend these courses. Are these courses on weekends, evenings?
Or evenings.
Evenings. And so a senior doesn't know if he wants to go on to college, wants to start a lawn care business, a music business.
Exactly.
They are also eligible for this. All right, that's great to hear.
What can we do as a municipality to get this, to bring this here to Monroe? I mean, we've, you know, Councilman Scancarello has done a great job, you know, pulling businesses in here, but we would like to, some of those established businesses, give them a, you know, get them involved in this. So what can we do to facilitate this?
Want me to answer that?
Yeah, Tony?
Listen, I talk to you all the time. I'm here to talk to them.
So my only hesitation with this was the actual cost for the program. And I had conversations with Randy and Heather, and they kind of enlightened me on the fact that you're investing in a community, and you're putting out funds that are not only going to reap the benefits for the people taking the class, but in the future will obviously reap tax benefits to us. Right. Now, the cost we have discussed, and we're trying to negotiate it a little bit, but it's going to be paid for, if the board chooses, out of ARPA funds. And I think the cost was $3.50, right? Yeah.
Cookie here and there.
Somehow I don't think so.
But I'll let Randy or Heather discuss the
You know,
cost.
it's important to stress, again, when you hear the price tag, you're going to go, oh my God, but per 10 participants, it's for an entire year, and that's what we keep running into, is they hear about this 10-week course, municipalities are hearing about the 10-week course, and they're not looking at the big picture. It's really for the full year. So it's $35,000 for 10 participants for the full year. So that is their support for that. Pays for Randy's salary for the full year. That pays for Edison to help us facilitate the program for the 10 weeks, find the trainers, make sure that we have all of our compliance with this New York State program, ensure that we have all of the materials. It's all broken out in what I gave you on the very last page.
Do you select the participants, or do we, or how's that work?
They apply, they go through an application process
They go
with
through an
with Randy.
application process with you, and
Yep.
then you vet it out and see if
they are vetted out.
We
have
can
some say in
can limit it to Monroe businesses.
Yep.
Well, if we're paying the freight, I would imagine.
Yeah.
we would.
Oh, yeah.
So this is where your flexibility comes in. You can say, no high school seniors. You can say, no businesses out of Monroe. What we came up with the town of Montgomery was, because the Orange County Chamber of Commerce was involved, 2 weeks prior to the deadline, if all of the seats were not full, we could open it up to members of the Orange County Chamber of Commerce, even if they were not in your municipality. So that's how that cohesion with the chamber worked out. And as it turns out, the individual that's looking to move into Montgomery happened to be one of the chamber members that was opened up to. So you see how that was beneficial to them.
Listen, I went to the graduation that night, and I think there was 9 out of the 10 people there. I spoke to 5 or 6 of them. Everyone was extremely happy with the program, and everyone felt that there was a turning point in the program that made them feel more confident when they went back to if they had an existing business or if they were in the process of opening a business. There was a gentleman there that had a tattoo shop, and I sat next to him, and it was very enlightening because he was like, I didn't know what the hell I was doing when I went into business. And listen, me being a former, retail, small business operator for over 30 years, I had the benefit of being a licensee with Hallmark, and I was able to go to seminars, and I had to go out to training for a couple of weeks. So I really think that this would be an asset to us. It's just a matter of getting through the numbers as a town board.
What about the other the Village of Monroe and Harriman? Could we get them on board with it, or?
Listen, I would like to do that. I think that would be great.
They have downtowns that would really
Yeah.
benefit
That could
from
benefit.
this.
What's that? Dory?
Well, they have
Both would
businesses.
definitely be able to benefit
Yeah.
from their business districts, yep.
How many nights per week do you meet, and for how long are the classes?
2 nights a week.
Uh-huh,
Right now, it's 2 nights a week, 3 hours per night.
okay.
There is some flexibility depending on your business owners. So for that, I would have to have discussions with you and some of the business owners, but there is some flexibility in how we offer it, but the last 2 have been pretty successful at this, in this way. I'm sorry?
Right now, we're meeting in Monroe, in Montgomery, but.
Something in Monroe,
if
we
you
can
do
meet
something
in Monroe.
you can meet
I think that would be
great.
I think
Yes.
that would be the key, is
Yes.
having the classes here in Monroe.
Meet here.
Yeah.
And it's all evenings? Like, what if I have an evening-based business? Like, maybe I opened a bar. I'm not saying that because I'm an
But it's
Irish
gotta
guy.
be
I'm
like,
just saying, if I opened a
all
bar,
10
how would
come
we,
in at the same time,
yeah.
Edison, through the years, we went back and forth with this quite a bit initially in the planning process, but through the years, they have a pretty tried and true assessment of what days and times work for most business owners. So last session, we did Tuesday, Thursday. This time we did Monday, Wednesday. Typically, your restaurants and your evening-based businesses are not open on Mondays, so they can make arrangements for the other day if they have to. And it's 10 weeks of class time, and then it's very flexible when they're making their appointments afterwards.
And one other thing, we record each and every single class. So every class, they could just go online, listen to the recording, do their homework, and everything gets done.
So
Can I just ask you a question? On your literature, it says after 90% attendance, there's a reimbursement of the registration fee. But what is that, the registration fee? Like $2.99, okay.
For the individual, not, and that's separate and apart from the 35 how he was laid out.
Just if I can say one more thing, we actually have a class going on tonight. That's why I was late. I wanted to stay with them for as long as I could with the instructor that was there. And we record each class. So we had 2 people that were ill, unfortunately. And they both reached out and were wondering how fast I could get the recording back to Edison to upload onto the thing, because they want to make sure. So I have to go back, finish the class, and meet him in Goshen somewhere tomorrow morning so we can upload it onto the platform for them.
All right. All right, we're going to have to digest a little and discuss it amongst ourselves, but I really appreciate you all coming down and speaking before us tonight. I personally think it's a great program. So.
Sounds great.
You guys have an agreement, like that you use? You might be able to get a copy, a draft agreement?
Yeah, it's basically this, and it says we agree to, but I can send you what we did with Monroe.
Okay, that'd be great.
Summary.
Thanks.
All right.
Very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good evening. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the acceptance of the minutes from February 15th. Good night, Mr. Scully.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Bingham,
Well, I'm
aye.
sorry, hold on. Any changes, alterations? No? Okay. Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Full aye.
Cardone, aye.
Ancarello, aye.
Good night.
Okay. General fund abstract? Yeah. Later in the day. General fund abstract, 6.1 on the agenda. Be it resolved that the town board of the town of Monroe requests approval of abstract 23-4 general fund containing checks 29830 through 29872, totaling $4,854,331.26. I'll make that motion.
Bingham to second.
Any discussion? Just so I know that sounds like a high amount, obviously, but 1.4 million of that and change is for the payment to the library, and 2.2 million is the payment to the fire district. So, call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Full aye.
Cardone, aye.
Ancarello, aye.
Good night.
Okay. Who made the motion? What's that? And Mary seconded. All right, thank you. Okay. Next item up is 120 Cromwell Hill Road. I think, Jason, you here? Yep. Oh, sorry. Come on up, but I'm just going to go through the escrow, my error. Give me a second here. So, be it resolved, the Town Board of Town of Monroe requests approval of abstract 23-02 escrow containing checks 2071 through 2078, totaling $22,554.66.
Full second.
Full second. Any discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Full aye.
Cardone, aye.
Ancarello, aye.
Good night.
So moved. Okay, so we have an application. This is our first one before us regarding short-term rentals. And Jason Green is here. He owns the property on 120 Cromwell Hill Road. I actually had a chance to visit it. I had a nice chat with Jason. And our building department has determined that he's met all guidelines, regulations, and has given us the blessing to approve this, which is the second part of the process. It says, as stated in subsection 40-8, I'm sorry, in section 40-8, subsections D, upon a satisfactory inspection, I'm forwarding the application to the town board for review of subsections E through G, see attached. I have not received any objections from any neighbor. So if you had the chance to review it, to me, it's,
It was very thorough.
yes, extremely thorough.
Even the scanned copies of the actual law with your notes in the margins, I was very impressed.
Yes.
Very, very impressed.
Anything you wanted to add, Jason?
It's all been said.
Okay.
I did have one question. You have a pool on that property, don't you?
Covered and there's, sorry, we have a non-functioning pool. It's covered with a safety cover, and there's padlocks and do not enter signs on both sides of the gate.
And it's fenced as well?
And fenced in.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. That said, I will make a motion to approve the application of 120 Cromwell Hill Road for their short-term rental.
Second with comments. Just did a great job, very thorough. We'd love to see everyone that applies for this to do the same. And again, our intention is twofold, to make sure that, our biggest thing is to bring people here to the community that will patronize our businesses and enjoy everything that we've come to love living here, and to make sure that those people that come and the owners of the premises, do it as per in an orderly manner that doesn't affect the rest of the job. And we look forward to having you bring lots of people into town. So,
Thank you very much, Jason.
you.
Can I call the question?
Second already?
Yeah,
I
Mike
second.
did.
Oh,
Okay,
Mike did.
then Bingham, aye.
Whole eye.
Cardone, aye.
Ancarello, aye.
good night.
So moved. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
All right.
Congratulations.
Bye-bye now.
Another satisfied customer.
Yes. If you're heading back home, have a safe trip. Yep. All right. So the funny part, Superintendent Patterson, is that when I was looking through this application, right behind it was the list of double poles. And at first, I saw the addresses, and I actually thought it was the amount of mailings that he had to do, because it was like, it was right behind it, and there was no title page on it. So, I'll turn it over to you.
So, riding around the town of Monroe, there's one huge blight that everybody sees. I noticed it. I've been living here for 8 years, and I've noticed it in a lot of other communities. Our utility companies, Orange and Rockland, Frontier, Optimum, Verizon, they all have wires hanging on what they call ghost poles. They're called double poles, but we call them a nuisance, is what we call them. So in the last probably 3 or 4 months, we have had one ghost pole come down that had wires on it on Rye Hill, and it ended up closing the street. It could have been worse. It could have landed on a car. Over on Doug Road, we had another one just fall in the middle of the street. So that is unacceptable. And I reached out to our attorney and asked him if we can do a local law on getting these ghost poles removed. We've been working with Brian.
I think the important part is that you clarify why these poles are falling down.
Yeah, well, they've been there so long that they're rotting off at the bottom. So we definitely need to do something, and they're paid. We're not for that. So it's their responsibility to get them taken care of. So.
Superintendent, I know some of these poles, they actually like cut them down maybe 10 feet up or 12 feet up. Does that cover, are we looking to cover that as well?
Yes. What it does, it's the responsibility of the pole owner, which is the last person off of the pole. So the last person that took his wires off must have cut the pole and made it easier for him to take down, but they never came and took them down.
At 15 High Ridge Road to this, because there's one in front of my house as well. So my neighbor down the street actually cut it down himself, down to the stump, so.
You see the list, 235 poles are on the list.
Yeah.
And this isn't just town, it's town, village, so, and hopefully, hopefully the village will understand what I'm doing, and they'll act on this as well. So, and thank you for your support, Mr.
Yeah, no problem. So everyone has, I'm sorry, Mike?
I said, thank you for compiling the list, doing a thorough inventory of all that are up.
Superintendent, sometimes these second poles are right next to an existing pole. Could that affect the stability of the existing primary pole, I guess I'd call it?
I'm sure it can after a while, because the deterioration, the rot on the bottom of those poles, the ground gets soft there. And if that pole is, the guide wires that are pulling it, pulls it one way into soft. So, yes.
You could have two poles fall down, not just one. Okay.
You could.
Yeah, there's a lot of poles out there with some gusty wind that could come down at any time.
It's, as I said, two in the last
dangerous.
couple of months.
Okay.
So Pat had provided us with a local law from the town of Highlands where he formerly worked regarding these ghost poles. So I believe, Council, you're going to try to draft this and frame
Yeah,
it
we've
for us?
already, I mean, Highlands is okay, but we found some local laws that would provide a little more depth, on top of that. So we're drafting one based on kind of best practices with this issue. So we can set a public hearing if the board would like to do so, and then we'll have the local law to you at least 8 days before the public hearing.
Mr. Supervisor, can we add fees, fines into our local law, please?
Yeah. That will be part of the law.
Okay.
Thank you.
So is March 20th enough time for you, or would you prefer it April 3rd?
It would be all right, except then we're, yeah, it's got to be due 8 days, so I would put it on the meeting after that.
Okay. All right, so I'll make a motion that we have a public hearing regarding the local law for ghost poles.
I would say double poles. Is
Double
the
poles?
Standard
Okay.
language.
I don't know, people might.
On
Ghost poles sounds too scary,
yeah, on maybe we could do it on Halloween. So
I hope we don't. We'll pass it on Halloween.
Yes.
How about that?
Yeah. So for April 3rd at 7 p.m. or immediately thereafter.
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilman Scancarello. Any other discussion? Call the question.
Hingham, aye.
All aye.
Cardone, aye.
Ancarello, aye.
Can I?
Okay, thank you.
Great work there, Mr. Superintendent.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, we just have to, since we do the books and the civil service aspect of MUDNA, that's our main responsibility there. I'm going to make a motion accepting the resignation of Connor McVie, who is a seasonal laborer at MUDNA effective March 10th, 2023.
Hingham to second.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Hingham, aye.
All aye.
Cardone, aye.
Ancarello, aye.
Can I?
Okay, so move. Item 7.4 is the 2023 New York State Town Clerks Association Conference in Syracuse. You have it before you, and Madam Clerk has requested $543 in accommodations and $125 in registration cost. She has a line item within her budget, and it will be, the funds will be taken from there. So that totals $668. I'm going to say that's 2 days, so I'm going to say with meals, we're probably looking at about $850. So I'll make a motion to approve the attendance at the NYSTCA conference for our town clerk for not to exceed $850.
I'll
Hingham to
second.
second.
Sal beat you that time, Councilwoman
okay.
Bingham, sorry. Right, okay. Okay, we'll call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Pool eye.
Cardone, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Good night.
So moved. Okay, 7.5 is the use of the town hall meeting room for the Monroe Historical Society event. It's the 2023 East Orange Collectors Show. It's hosted by the Historical Society. It features antique toys, old coins, iron hardware, antique iron hardware, model trains, all kinds of bottles, glass insulators, license plates, farming items, slot cars, and much more. So essentially, we have to approve the use of that for the Historical Society.
Well, who will second?
All right, I'll make,
You'll make the-
no, you make the motion.
Who will make a motion?
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
You are quick tonight. Call, I'm going to shut you up so Mary can get a word in, all right? Any other discussion on it?
I think it's a great idea. It's great to see all those things. Maybe the young people can come see what an old milk bottle looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, or a terminal for the telegraph lines. They had those glass insulators, so it'd be interesting, I hope, for the young people to come out and see as well.
Yeah, it's from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., so. Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Pool eye.
Cardone, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Good night.
So moved. So item 7.6 is the use of this meeting hall by the Monroe Police Department for the community training event for Saturday, March 18th, which we discussed earlier.
Second that
Good
motion.
evening. You'll second that?
Yep.
Any discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Pool eye.
Cardone, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Good night.
So moved. Okay, Superintendent Patterson, 7.7 is the vehicle purchase for the highway superintendent.
I've been working on this for months, trying to find the best price I can find for a highway superintendent's vehicle so I can put the truck that I drive back in the fleet with the men. And last week we went out to OGS bid, New York State bid process, and they came back with Robert Green and Monticello came back for the purchase of this truck for $55,641.10 for the purchase of a pickup, a four-door pickup for me to drive and to use on the roads. It will have sensor in it with road temperature and safety lighting on the truck when it comes in. And a couple years ago, pre-COVID, this truck probably would have been $35,000, but everything has changed so much. It's ridiculous on how much this stuff has gone up. And Ford, I tried to buy because there is a bid out for Ford, and the discount for if you purchased a Ford pickup used to be between $8,000 and $11,000 discount for the municipalities. Now it's $300 for the municipalities. It's just not there anymore for us. So I'm asking the board to please accept this.
Now, the list price on this is over $61,000.
Yes.
Okay.
Attached, I put all of the stuff that's.
All right, and we do have money in the, I think it's the H10 fund to pay for this, which will not affect this year's budget. So I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of this vehicle. It's a 1500 Chevy crew cab pickup for the highway superintendent.
Bingham to second.
Mayor, it's all yours.
I'm going to give it. I'm giving it to Mary. I'm giving it to Mary.
It's all yours.
Any other discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Pool eye.
Cardone, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Good night.
So moved. Okay, item 7.8 is surplus from Superintendent Patterson.
Yes, I'm requesting that we surplus a 2005 International plow truck that hasn't been used in a few years. It's just sitting on the property, taking up space, and rusting away even more. The truck cannot be even run because the oil pan is rusted out of it. And I'm also requesting the 2008 Ford bus, which is the old maintenance bus that has been sitting there for a few years as well. And it has the transmission is shot in this bus, and it's not worthy of putting a transmission in.
Okay.
Question, going to do the Water District 12 tank, or are you going to hold off for?
I'm going to hold off on that until I get the information, the correct information on the tank. It was discussed today. I discussed it with Tommy, our water man, and he's going to get me that information so we can get that out on the auction site or declare it surplus as well. So, and these two vehicles will be put on Auctions International as soon as possible. So.
Mary, do you want to make a
Who's
motion?
going to pay for the truck?
So you're not competing with everyone for a second?
Any insurance?
Well, you know,
And
you have
insurance.
to, when I'm at the end, I guess. So I'll make a motion to allow the surplus of a 2005 International, do I have to give the VIN number?
Yeah, just give the VIN number. I think
VIN
it's-
number 1HTWDAD-R45J0, or it could be a 038364, and a 2008 Ford bus model E450, VIN number 1FD4E45P18DB00902, to be allowed to go for surplus.
Poole, second.
Discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Poole, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Ancarello, aye.
Can I?
So moved.
Supervisor,
Yes.
before you move on while I'm still speaking, I just want to let the board know that Wednesday I will be going to Albany. There is registered now is over 600 highway superintendents. We do this every year, and we're going to advocate for local roads and try and get our CHIPS money increased like we try every year. And it's been successful, but let's hope it remains successful this year. So.
You drive up with Lou, so it's on his dollar, right?
I'm going with Tommy because my truck won't fit in the parking garage.
All right. Okay. Glad you're going up there, Pat. Item 7.9 is the Water District 2 process piping replacement agreement. Mary, did you want to
Right, we
touch
need
base on
to,
that?
we need to have an agreement with McGooey Hauser Etzel because they're our town engineer. And Water District 2 has some piping issues within their pump house. So basically, the town wishes to replace the existing process piping for the 2 existing wells to the existing treatment facility, as well as all other existing piping within the treatment facility with force account work. The town proposes to make provisions in the future process piping to replace the existing buried atmospheric storage tank with a new above-ground atmospheric storage tank on the existing treatment facility site. The process The process piping will include a T and a valve for future connections to this tank. Further, the town wishes to provide piping for the connection to a new booster pump skid to provide consistent pressure to the existing distribution system. Said booster pump skid will replace existing booster pumps and the hydro-pneumatic tank currently utilized by the district. And the costs, one second. The cost would be for McGooey Hauser and Etzel's work would be $16,400 plus any expenses as they might incur. Basically, you know, a lot of these water districts we've talked about in the past, they haven't been upgraded, and this is work that needs to be done. So I'll make a motion to have the supervisor sign the agreement with McGooey Hauser Etzel for the Water District 2 process piping replacement
I'll second.
agreement.
Okay, any other discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Pool, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Mangarello, aye.
Actually, I have to abstain, I guess, Brian, since I'm signing it. Counsel? No? All right, so aye, okay. What's that? No, no. No, I stopped selling pipes years ago. All right, okay. Thank you. Item 7.10 is the senior center bid for kitchen improvements. This is a CDBG grant process application, which we received a grant for. This is approval of the to go out to bid for it. The advertisement for bids is attached. So I will make a motion to approve that. It's renovation of the kitchen, and it will be piggybacked at a later date with replacement of the roof because of the Ansel system that's going to be installed in the senior center. The roof has to be a hole cut into it, and there's some other adjustments that need to be made. So we're going to do the actual shingling of the roof.
You already have that grant in hand, or?
The grant has been approved, yes.
It has been, okay.
Yep. Anybody else? No? Call the question. You seconded it, right? Yes. All right, call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Pool, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Oh, aye.
Good night.
Thanks. Mrs. Morris will be pleasantly happy, pleasantly pleased and happy. Okay, item 7.11 is the award of the bid for the Town Hall HVAC replacement. So we had 3 bids come in. First one was from TM Brennan for $387,000 with $225 an hour for call-outs. Second one is from S&L Plumbing and Heating Corp. For $387,000, and that was with $174.08 an hour call-outs. And the third bid was for $198,000 with $150 an hour call-outs, and that was from 914 Heating and Cooling. So I guess everything was checked out through our clerk and through our engineers, and I'd like to award the bid tonight to 914 Heating and Cooling. You have the spreadsheet in front of you, and the resolution is I'm sorry. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll just read the now therefore parts. Okay, now therefore be it resolved that the above whereas clauses are incorporated herein as if set forth in full. The town board hereby awards the bid contract to 914 Heating and Cooling Incorporated, subject to satisfactory completion with all requirements set forth in the bid specifications previously issued by the town. Section 3, the town supervisor and any other officer, employee, or consultant, as directed by the town supervisor, is hereby authorized to take any and all necessary actions to carry out the provisions of this resolution. Section 4, this resolution shall be effective immediately. So I make a motion that we make that bid award.
Bingham to second.
Okay, any other discussion? Based on the estimated time of delivery for the equipment, They're looking to probably start sometime in May, and they'll do it in phases so that not the whole building is out. Yeah, that's, unfortunately, that's where we're at, especially with, as far as the delivery of the equipment.
Yeah.
So.
And we
Okay.
really shouldn't have to worry about too many HVAC needs in May.
No, there's a couple
right?
of days
There'll be a
usually,
couple of
but-
days where it's hot, but
Yeah. Okay, so call the question.
Bingham, aye.
whole eye.
Cardone, aye.
Pancarello, aye.
Good night.
So moved. Okay. Next item up is 7.12, multi-factor authentication. Council, what was the acronym you said? M4F?
2FA.
2FA. Okay, 2FA. All right. So we've had discussions regarding this from New Windsor IT, who's the town's current IT provider, and they're related to the implementation of Rublon's multi-factor authentication software. It's a two-factor authentication for emails and a multi-factor authentication for remote access to the servers and the workstations. The reason we have to go to this is when we were analyzing our insurance, the cost through NYMER for our cybersecurity insurance was $20,000. NYMER actually suggested that we go outside of them to get cyber insurance. It's one of the hottest topics in the insurance industry. So we had our insurance agent take a look at a bunch of quotes from different companies, and I think Travelers is the one who came in about $6,000 less for the cybersecurity, with the stipulation that we had to get two-factor or multi-factor authentication. So that's where we're at. We basically are asking the board to approve this. It's $855, which includes the setup and configuration and the authentication software for 1 year. So it's $850. There is money in our shared services budgets, so I would like to get this approved. I did speak to the staff about it about a month ago, just making everyone aware, and they understood. They understood, especially since everyone here knows that someone tried to hack our server by using my name as a title in the email. And Sal was the first one that caught it, and he says, "You don't talk like that." So,
Get you educated.
yes, exactly. No, listen, it was very eloquent, and I knew it wasn't me when I read it. So
Who will second?
Cool, second?
Yes.
Okay, any other discussion?
Considering what Blooming Grove went through last year when they
Oof.
had their cybersecurity breach, considering what the school district went through in the 2019-2020 school year for the beginning of that. Do you guys remember?
Yeah.
School was shut down for a couple of days. We missed the first day of school. Yeah. How many emails have been coming through in each of our email accounts that ask us to click on whatever or reply to? This is a serious thing. So for $855, I think that's a very small price to pay.
Yeah.
Supervisor, as a little PSA for your residents, anytime you have the option for two-factor authentication for anything you're using, you should use it. Banking, you name it, because it's a big difference. Somebody gets your name and password on one of these websites and you don't have it, you're exposed. By just having that text to your phone or that email confirmation makes it incredibly more difficult for somebody to access, your account and whatever it is.
Thank you. Okay. Call the question?
Bingham, aye.
Full aye.
Cardone, aye.
Pancarello, aye.
Good night.
Okay. Item 7.13 is a change in the operating system 365, which is the client email for the town of Monroe employees. and our board members from Core BTS to Male's Best Friend. It's an oversight and help desk support will be done through New Windsor IT, and the town continues to maintain that intermunicipal agreement with New Windsor. Let me just get the prices over here. Do a yearly commitment. It's going to be $3.83 per user for a yearly cost of, that's per month, I believe. Yep. That's for $3,033.36. And we can do a yearly commitment that can offer this for $2.87 per user for a yearly cost of $2,273.04, which is about a $750 savings, right? $760.
Question, I thought that was only for the archiving, the 2,000. But it's for actually all the emails?
No, it actually, the exchange is, I'm sorry, the exchange is Plan 1, and the archiving is Plan 2.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Jen, I got to be honest with you, Jen handles this. This is something that she specializes in, and she's been working on this for about a month. What happened was about 2 weeks ago, we had our second instance with the current provider where they could not get us the answers regarding support for some of our email exchanges. They actually said to us, I don't know if we're going to be able to handle you anymore. And the good part about this is it puts everything together with New Windsor IT, through New Windsor IT, versus having two different companies that we'd have to deal with when we had some email issues. So there's obviously money in our shared services budget for computers, and this is, it's essentially, I think there was a little bit of a cost savings with it too, switching from the provider that we currently have to Town of New Windsor, who currently handles any issues that we have.
Would it be one or the other, or would it be both?
I believe it's both.
Okay.
And I would like to approve both, but I just want to clarify it with Jen regarding that. So,
Table it?
So, no, I mean, because the 66 exchange online is plan number 1 with licenses. So that's, yeah, that's the most important one, $3,033.36. So I'll make a motion to approve that.
Bingham to second.
Any other discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Well, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Good night.
Okay, and then I'll clarify the exchange for the online archiving with Jen, and then we could approve that at the March 20th meeting. Okay, thank you. All right, next item is the agreement with Orange County regarding general municipal law referrals. Counsel, you want to kind of explain that?
Sure. Typically, when there's certain actions in the town within 500 feet of county parks, streams, highways, you're required to refer those matters to the county planning department for a review, what they call usually a 239M review. This agreement, which is permitted under GML 239, allows the county and the town to say certain applications and under certain circumstances, there's no need to refer it, as you're kind of predetermining that it's a matter of local concern. So some of the items are site plan for a single family home, change in existing use that are not, involving state highways, residential subdivisions less than 5 lots, and then certain area and use variances for like side and rear yard variances. So the county is saying, and the town is agreeing, that those matters where normally, if they were in 500 feet of a county, highway, park, et cetera, you would refer them. The agreement here is that you don't have to refer those because they're going to deem them by this agreement matters of a local concern. And the truth is, even if you sent them over and went through the process, you're most likely just going to get a letter back saying this is a matter of local concern. So it just avoids having to send that over and await that response for 30 days before you could take action.
This was initiated by the county then?
That's correct. And they're sending these out to pretty much all the Orange County municipalities to minimize, I believe, their workload. And again, having you wait for 30 days for something you're just going to get a letter saying it's a matter of local concern.
We need authorization for the supervisor to sign?
That's correct.
Make a motion that we give the supervisor permission to that we authorize the supervisor to sign the agreement with the Orange County Department of Planning regarding
And just so you
approvals.
know, they're putting on the planning board chair and the ZBA chair. My feeling is supervisor will sign. If they really need those additional signatures from those boards, they can contact them directly. But typically, the supervisor would be the person to sign agreements on behalf of the town.
Bingham to second.
Question.
Bingham, aye.
Pool, aye.
Aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Good night.
So moved. Okay. All right. Next up is item 7.16, the 2023
Supervisor, you missed 7.15.
resolution regard, I checked it off, I'm sorry. Resolution regarding 2023 Round Lake treatment. So we have an ongoing contract with Solitude Lake Management, sorry. So we're basically agreeing to move forward with the treatment. The resolution is just for me to sign the agreement, which is required by the Bureau of Pesticides from the DEC. And that's basically it. We've done this for over 20 years, I believe. It's just a formality right now. So we need a motion and a second for me to sign it.
Make a motion that we authorize the supervisor to sign the Solitude agreement for Round Lake.
Second.
Bingham to second.
Yeah, she beat you, Mike. She was just very quiet
Well, yours,
about it.
Bear.
She was very quiet about it. Okay, call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Pool, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Good night.
Okay, so moved. Next, item 7.16 is the 2023 Independence Day fireworks. The fireworks are an ongoing event that we sponsor with the Village of Monroe and the Village of Harriman. We got a letter on February 14th asking us, it basically says, Village Board has set the Independence Day fireworks display for Sunday, July 2nd, 2023, with a rain date on Monday, July 3rd. The display is a way for our neighboring communities to come together to celebrate history, government, and traditions in our country. It is a day that is enjoyed by many residents. The number of spectators continues to grow every year. We need your support now than ever for this wonderful event. We would like to have a more intense show this year. In order to achieve this goal, we're asking you to consider increasing your contribution from last year. Your contribution is greatly appreciated. We've already budgeted, so unless anybody has, any comments they want to make, I would say leave it the same. I asked the mayor October.
I think now would be a great time for us to have a conversation with him for next year. So have this response go to him that the budget will remain the same, but that we'd like to have a conversation so that we can know what we need to increase our budget to for the 2024 fireworks season.
All right. 7, point, no, there's no motion necessary. Yeah, no motion necessary. Item 7.17 is a senior center event.
Have an IMA, though. You need to,
What's that?
you have an IMA with that fireworks display that needs to
We
be
need to
signed.
renew it.
What's
Okay.
that? Yeah, I
So
mean, there's an IMA on the, from the village, an agreement.
we need to authorize the supervisor to sign the IMA.
Yeah, and I don't know if you have an amount, but if you know it already, it's the same.
Oh, it's the same? You had checked it already?
There's no amount in the agreement, so I don't know what,
Yeah, I read through it, it's
it
it's
just
actually
refers-
dated
No, we
2022.
executed it.
You what?
We executed it.
That's last year's.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
22. I'm assuming they need another one for 23.
Have they submitted one?
Well, they didn't give me one.
Oh,
Well, how about this?
well, how about
this?
we
authorize the
authorize,
supervisor to sign it in a form approved by the town attorney
do you know
when
the
the village does get around to sending it.
I could look it up in the budget. I want to
Okay.
say it's like,
75.
yeah.
so I suggest the motion be to authorize supervisor to execute any documents necessary to contribute the same amount to the Village of Monroe fireworks display.
Who will make that motion?
Bingham to second.
Question.
Bingham, aye.
Who will I?
Cardone, aye.
Can I?
Okay. Senior Center event, use of dial-a-bus, Thursday, March 16th at 4 p.m. The seniors will be attending the student musical play at the high school. It will result in overtime for approximately 1.5 hours for one of the drivers. I think there's like a half a dozen to 8 seniors that will be using the bus. So I would like to make a motion to approve that overtime.
I'll make that motion.
All right, I'll second it. Any discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Who will I?
Cardone, aye.
Pancarello, aye.
Can I?
So moved. Okay. All right. Next up is the resolution to purchase dial-a-bus number 35. It's a 2016 VIN number 1FDFE-FS3GDC10778. It's a Ford. It's a Phoenix model. Seating capacity is 18, which is one of the larger ones. There's currently 83,029 miles on it. The purchase price in 16 of the bus was $67,013, and we essentially purchased it for $1 from the county. Sweet. So, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any other discussion? Call the
Do
question.
they have any pickup trucks?
Good questions. You want to look into that, Pat?
That's got no comment.
Okay, sorry.
Listen, I, on a side note, I know he was looking for used trucks.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah.
it was a long haul, no pun intended for him.
So I interrupted the question.
Okay, call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Who will I?
Cardone, aye.
Pancarello, aye.
Can I?
Okay, item 7.19 is the Veterans Disability, and the assessor has asked us to discuss this matter, possibly approve it. It's the provisions of this paragraph notwithstanding, such income when applying for an exemption shall not include veterans' disability compensation as defined in Title 38 of the United States Code, provided the governing board of such municipality, which is us, after a public hearing, adopts a local law, ordinance, and resolution providing therefore. So, I would like to set the public hearing for this on April 3rd, 2023, and it's for the discussion of real property tax, Section 467, as it relates to veterans' disability, and that's for 7 p.m. or immediately thereafter.
Bingham to second.
Any other discussion? We'll tell you that based on a quick analysis, our assessor, Royce Noblin, said it's probably going to affect 7 to 10 veterans in the town of Monroe. So, call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Who will I?
Cardone, aye.
Pancarello, aye.
Can I?
Okay, so moved. All right. Next up, 720 is the My Government Online. It's called MGO. It's a program that will be beneficial to the building department. It will help them for code review, violations, along with the permit and the inspection process. Ben has done quite a bit of research on this. It's his analysis of this program is it's going to cost us about $500 a month, and if they're going to issue 800 permits, which so let me clarify that. So normally we fall under 500 just barely, but if we go over, there's a $10 per permit over the 500 for this program. He said this year it appears they're going to be issuing 800 permits that can go to the next bracket of 501 to 1,000 permits, and that is about $500 a month. You have a pricing breakdown before you, and Ben and I missed each other today, so I could not get clarification on it, but based on the description, it's an anywhere monthly license fee of $260.42. That's from 0 to 500. There's a code enforcement monthly license fee, and that module is $99. And then there's an integration monthly fee of $230 for total monthly fees of $589.42, which amounts to about $7,200 a year. And then there is, Ben has, for just that portion of it, Ben has said that it's recommended to budget $4,560 for 2 on-site visits, which this is for the company, MGO, regarding lodging, transportation, meals, and 20% administration fee. So we have in the line item for this, we were looking at another company, and we had $60,000 in this year's budget, and the thought was to carry over that into next year's and add like $35,000 into it. So this is a considerable savings regarding this. So I would like to approve it tonight, and I will get clarification on the cost. The money is in the budget, and it's going to be considerably lower than that $60,000 that is in the line item for the building department. So I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of My Government Online, or known as MGO, and I will get clarification on the dollar amount.
I'll second for discussion. Is there any other municipalities in Orange County that use this?
Well, it's funny you should ask that. I couldn't find any other municipalities in Orange County who used it, but there is a city in Texas, the city of Mont Belvieu, who's been using it since 2017. So they've been using it for about 6 years now. They've been using the old system. They've updated it. And Jose Rodriguez, who is the building inspector, said that they're really excited to start using the new one because he said that My Government Online has listened to all of their recommendations and their constructive criticisms, and they've implemented changes to the new update, and he says it's going to be awesome. And if we have any questions, he's willing to answer them for us. So he's very pleased with his experience with MGO.
I know Ben's been looking for a long time, so
Years.
he's done a lot of research on this.
Anything else? Nope. Okay. Question?
Bingham, aye?
Cool, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Oh, aye.
Good night.
So moved. Okay, this is not on old business, but Councilman McGinn, you wanted to talk about the Rye Hill Preserve?
Yeah, this actually, while we're still under new business, I just want to, I received an email from Lori Gross, and she is from addictions.com. She requested that if we could include the link for their organization on our website, and it is addictions.com provides free mental health and substance abuse resources for people at any stage of the recovery journey, including resources, treatment, warning signs, and how to talk to family members, definitions for different types. Even though this is a national organization, it does, the link would be for New York-based rehabs, and partnered with other. It cost us anything? I looked at it. If anyone wants to look at it before we authorize it this evening, just to make sure that I've gone through it. It seems, totally legit, and I think it'd be a good resource for. Motion that. Right.
I'll second it. Any other discussion? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
All aye.
Cardone, aye.
Good night.
Okay. Old business.
All right, so under old business, I know a bunch of people have been wondering what the update was on, or what the update is on the Sunbrook proposal for the Hill Court. And so obviously we've been looking into it. We've recently discovered that apparently the plaintiffs or the owners of the property are now in a legal, in a lawsuit with the proposed buyers of the property, Sunbrook, in New York State Supreme Court. And apparently it's over a breach of contract that those two entities signed. The town is not part of that contract. We were never part of that contract. We didn't know what the contents of the contract are or were. Now we do from the court filings, and it has to do over escrow payments that Sunbrook was supposed to make to the owners of the property. So that being said, after having a discussion with the attorney, he is going to, or we can authorize it here this evening, send a formal letter of request to Sunbrook to find out what their future intentions are, whether they're going to move forward after the litigation or at some point during, or whatever is going to happen. So just, again, not uncommon that these things happen between entities like this, but I would say, based on what we're seeing here, that they couldn't resolve this out of court, and now that they're in court, this will probably be something that's going to go on for a little while before we have, before there's any clarification on it. So, so stay tuned, and when we find out more, we'll certainly impart that to the residents. But as of right now, those two entities are in court, suing each other, and so we will. Actually, it's the owners suing Sunbrook. So there's no. They are suing them for breach of contract. So that's where we are right now. Counsel.
Yeah, that's correct. The claim is somewhat limited. It's about a escrow payment that Chap 5, the plaintiff, claims is due because certain deadlines were extended, and the most recent filing indicates that Sunbrook had not responded to that litigation. So we'll follow up if the board is good with that with Mr. Buss and find out the status of Sunbrook and where they're, whether they're continuing on.
No, and we don't need a resolution to do that.
No,
ask you to.
As long as the board is good with that, we'll send that letter. Yeah, it's not a formal action, just a request for status.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Nugent.
Thank you.
Under old business is item 8.1, DG Realty, who has, I'm going to turn it over to council on this with regard to their cluster subdivision.
Part of their application and includes what they call the Public Improvement Security Agreement and bonding. We haven't approved that in final form, but if, the board wishes, they can approve the documents subject to approval by council in a final form.
I'll make a motion that we approve the public, let me get this right, the Public Improvement Security Agreement based on.
And a bond cost estimate.
Bond based on review of council and final form.
Bring them to second.
Discussion? I will say that we have received the parkland fees. There was $75,000.
Yeah, and there are still some steps with DG, the Park District and other matters, but this is a standard agreement that the planning board determines is necessary in some cases, and basically the Public Improvement Security Agreement just lays out all the obligations of the developer, including the conditions that have been imposed by the planning board through the subdivision and site plan process.
Okay. Call the question?
Am I?
All aye.
Cardone, aye.
Cancarello, aye.
Can I?
So moved. Next up is the resolution adopting amendments to local law 1 of 2022, short-term rentals. So you have everything in front of you. Council, do you want to?
As you may recall, there was the enactment of the short-term rentals local law. These were kind of more minor administrative amendments to the short-term rental local law that were made at the end of 22. I think the public hearing actually closed in November, but they hadn't yet been adopted. So these were kind of minor administrative changes, nothing of substance in comparison to the original law when it was enacted.
A lot of it was script.
What's that?
A lot of it was script type.
Yeah, there was, I could pull them, but there was nothing significant. They were just sort of changes I think the planner recommended at some point after the adoption to add to the.
Yeah, so like, for example, one of them is proof of mailing of the notice of application instead of reading registered mail receipts.
Right.
And then right below that, it says proof of mailing instead of proof of registration with mailing. So, it's a lot of simple changes that are only going to, enhance, and some of it had to do with dropping the cost and the cost burden for the homeowner when applying for it.
So the public's aware, the mailing still will be sent out.
Right.
Yeah, within the 500 feet. So nobody should say, oh, I never got a notice. The mailings are still going to go out.
Yeah, and they have to provide proof of mailing, not proof of receipt.
Registered.
So.
Right.
Yeah, I think it was a minor change to the alarm, the Wi-Fi versus being hardwired, so nothing of significance.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to adopt those amendments to local law number 1 of 2022, short-term
We should have
rentals.
a new number on
This
that.
would be local law number 4 of 23.
Okay, so that would become, so I'll make a motion to, I'll repeal what I just said, and I'm going to make a motion adopting the amendments to local law number 4 of 2023, which is the short-term rental amendments. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Councilman Scancarello, any other discussion? Call the question.
Hingham, aye.
All aye.
Cardone, aye.
Cancarello, aye.
Can I?
So moved. Okay. Next up, public comment.
Andre Stolte?
Oh, okay.
That's all for public comment. It's 15 minutes, already 15 minutes past the meeting. That's all for public comment.
Have to go into executive session? All matter? Motion to go into executive session to discuss a personnel matter. I'll second. Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Pool eye.
Cardone, aye.
Grillo, aye.
Good night.
So moved. I'll make a motion to exit out of executive session and return to the regularly scheduled Monroe meeting of March 6, 2023. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Councilman Scancarello, second. Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Pool eye.
Cardone, aye.
Grillo, aye.
Good night.
Okay, so we had a request from Noreen McSweeney regarding her carryover vacation. She's asked us to extend it through April because of some family issues, and I will make well, who wanted to make the motion?
I'll make the
Dory?
motion. I'll make the motion that we extend Noreen McSweeney's vacation days through to the end of April 2023.
The carryover vacation.
The carryover vacation
Okay.
days, yes, from 2022.
Okay.
I'll second.
You did, you are? Oh, I thought McGinn was going to second.
Second.
All right. No.
Is that part of the
Yeah, he missed that part. That's all right. All right, call the question.
Bingham, aye.
pool eye?
Cardone, aye.
Grillo, aye.
Good night.
All right, so moved. Motion to adjourn?
Pool will make the motion to adjourn.
Bingham to second.
Call the question.
Aye. Bingham, aye.
Pool eye.
Cardone, aye.
Grillo, aye.
Good night.
Have a good evening, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's. Bye, George.